All right, but let's go ahead and we'll get into the game of the week. And before we get into that,
Game
we're
of
going to
the
go
week.
ahead and talk about our pick'em order. Because if you don't know, we have our headline games, and I think Rob, I went. What did I go? I guess we all
We
just
both went 26 and 4.
yeah, we went 26-4, but in our headlines we went I think all 3-1. Uh,
Okay, headline games. Yeah.
Rob ended up yeah, we all just about went 3-1, and so yeah,
I
so the
would like
order
to
this week.
say I'm going to pat myself on the back for the second time today. One being an Aggie fan, and the second one straight up won week 1 and week 2 in the pick'em, and it took a tiebreaker in week 3, and so I tied for first in week 3 and lost on a tiebreaker.
To be completely fair,
beating
I was
all
planning on switching my pick
beating
from.
all these young whippersnappers.
To be fair, in I was planning on switching from Mississippi State to LSU, and then I realized that it had already kickoff had already started, so it was locked in. And so I was just nervous and mad at myself the whole time. And it turned out that I didn't need it and I won regardless. And so that, because I called my shot with that Penn State game, it was slightly over. So if Trey had had one more win, which Trey ended up in last place, if he had had one more win, then Trey would have won, I
He
think,
would
one
have
or
won.
two.
Well,
He would have won the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
to be fair, me and Trey are just competitors. We had to change it. We changed our pick to Miami. That's why we dropped. I would actually have beat Rob easily because I picked it.
You gave up a chance. You hurt your overall record for the end of the season on a prayer and a hope for winning the week.
Well,
Not a prayer and a hope. A&M's looked terrible this year, so it was not really a prayer and a hope. It was like
yeah, I was pretty flip floppy on that game.
A bad call, a bad move.
Well, you were just not.
Hey, now y'all know how I feel on that BYU game.
You can't even call it a bad beat. I'm not going to change my picks for strategy. I'm gonna pick the teams I think are going to win.
Well, he's not competitive enough to pick against his Aggies.
I own you, Rob.
But I think we're all going to pick up a game on Rob next week when we all pick Arkansas and he picks A&M.
I guess we'll see. I'll have to do some more research, see what's going on. But so that puts me in first place, Rob in second, and Quentin will be third. And for the game of the week, I know we already talked about A&M and Miami. That's definitely on my list. But for my game of the week, I like to go a little out of the box so we can talk about more games.
Yeah, and you're going to say the same game I'm going to say.
Syracuse versus Purdue.
No. App State and Troy.
No, okay, we'll get into Syracuse versus Purdue first. That was a good game, and that was another one that we missed on. And
it was.
That was a fun game. I don't really have a whole lot of stats for you or anything. We all thought Purdue was just going to go in there and handle it. And a sack interception. He trying to throw the ball away, threw it right into a D lineman's stomach, and that ended up giving Syracuse in the end the win. They went on to have.
That's not what did it.
I know, but if
Purdue won that game, they scored at the end of the game, and then they had back-to-back stupid penalties. I think it cost them 15 yards from the 35 to the 20. They got another 15-yard penalty that backed them up from the 20 to the 10. And what happened? Syracuse scores on the last freaking play of the game.
There's like 7 seconds left. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy one. So that's my pick. We'll probably make the rounds. Trey's not here, so we'll just mention any games that we don't have. So Rob, you're next. You got App State.
I've got
Troy
App State beating Troy. As much as I can't blame App State for beating A&M, all the respect to them, but they have got a bandwagon of fans across the nation. Game day was held at App State, and they had one of the most miracle come from behind, wins. Last play of the game, Hail Mary, falls about 10 yards shy, pops out to one guy who's got a blocker in front of him, and almost just walks in the end zone, gets mobbed by everybody. I think he got mobbed by a camera guy.
Yeah, I'm a little
It's
off
ridiculous.
the App State hype train. I'm gonna be a little bit of a hater. If everyone's just gonna like, I'm kind of reactionary in the opposite way. Like if everyone's hopping on something, I'm just gonna be anti whatever that is. So if liking App State is just trendy right now, everyone's like, oh, they beat a top 10 team, which means they're like everyone said, oh, it's gonna be a double digit
Hey,
game. They're a
no,
Sun
no,
Belt
no,
team
no.
for a reason.
I, I agree with you. The way I look at App State right now is they remind me of a team in March Madness that got in, by winning their conference, wouldn't have made it otherwise. And I'm not saying Chicago. I can't pronounce the
Loyola.
Chicago. Yeah, there was a couple of years there where they were just everybody's favorite. They
Yeah.
weren't a good team, but everybody liked that old nun that showed up to the games and wore the school colors and everything. That's the way I see this app. I think it's good for football. That non-Power 5 teams are getting some headlines, and yeah, it was a little corny game day being at App State, but boy, did they pick a good game to go to.
Yeah, and this was honestly a week where there wasn't a whole lot of good games, but
Yeah.
I think they could have chosen something better. So, Quentin, do you have anything?
Cal Notre Dame. I think it was a very good game. Came down to like 2 bounces at the end is why Cal lost.
Okay,
That's
a good one.
Game. I picked Notre Dame, but I was really hoping that Cal would win, just because Notre Dame gets so much love. I'm just tired of it. So much national bias towards Notre Dame in recent years.
They still, like after last week, after going 0-2, they still got votes for the top 25. Just ridiculous. Okay, I have one more. I don't know if any of y'all are going to mention this, and Trey's not here, so we can go ahead and get a 4th, 5th, or 6th, or however many y'all want to add. FSU at Louisville was a fantastic game. Friday night.
That was.
It was just great. Florida State already missing some guys going into that game. Jordan Travis goes down, and their backup looked terrible in the first half. And they came out and they just were slinging it. And they came out on top. And I think that was just a great game. I'm not going to be super analytical. I'm not going to throw stats at you. But I thought it was just super entertaining. I was supposed to be doing homework during.
That was the loss that cost me the week. I picked Louisville to win that game, and man, they almost pulled it out. It was a very exciting game.
Yeah,
it really was.